Hello, today we have Shelley, Eric, and Renee presenting a case study on Giberson's Glass Studio. Renee will first review the company's income statement. Then I, Shelley, will go over questions to help Mr. Giberson. Lastly, Eric will share recommendations for the business.
Hello all. Now we're going to be developing the income statement for Mr. Giberson's Glass Studio. Before making suggestions to Mr. Giberson, we must determine the business total sales income and total cost. With the list provided, we will break down those costs into variable cost, mixed cost, and fixed cost. Because we are given monthly average data and not month-on-month cost, we can't see the variation in the cost to determine if the costs are mixed or fixed cost. So therefore we went with our intuition and most probable types of costs. So first, before taking a course of action, we must determine the business sales income, determine the business total cost, and break those costs into variable cost, mixed cost, or fixed cost. Here we have the income statement for year ending August 31st, 2007. The average sales of Mr. Giberson's Glass Studio are used to determine the total sales revenue for the year ending August 31st, 2007. To determine the total sales, we must multiply the number of units per week times the sales price and times the number of weeks. So we would take 19 units at $9, 10 units at $15, 32 units at $8, and 8 units at $25, and multiply that times 40 weeks. This will give us a value of $31,080. All the costs will be broken down to variable or fixed costs. The variable cost will be subtracted from the total sales to determine the contribution margin. The variable costs add up to be $5,078.93 and leave a total contribution margin of $26,729 with 4 cents. Listed are the fixed costs: office supplies, advertising, contributions, dues and subscriptions, insurance, taxes, and licenses. The list of fixed costs continues with rent, truck payment, utilities, and gas for the total fixed cost of $14,855, leaving a net income of $11,874 with 4 cents for Mr. Giberson.
Hello, I am Shelley and will now discuss the questions needed to help out Mr. Giberson and his business. The table shown above is the production and output of Giberson's hot time, which is almost reaching 19 hours on a weekly average. The first question to ask Giberson is if he can raise the daily hours put towards hot time in order to increase his overall productivity while still minimizing his gas usage. Currently, Giberson spends 18.58 hours for hot time production, which includes using the glory hole and ovens. If daily production hours can be increased from the current 6 hours to 9.5 hours, an extra day can fit into the weekly schedule. Having an extra day of hot time will help Giberson's production by fulfilling his back orders and increasing his profits. This next table provides all the production periods for each item during cold time, along with the average weekly production. The bottom right corner tells us the total cold time, which is nearly 6 hours every week. Based on this information, a question for Mr. Giberson would be if he can dedicate one day in the studio for 6 hours of cold time. Cold time consists of grounding, sanding, and polishing glass items before selling and shipping them. Even though Giberson spends time throughout the week accomplishing these tasks, he typically spends his Sundays and Mondays catching up on the work he did not finish the previous week. If Giberson is regularly not accomplishing all of his week's tasks, then the situation suggests that he is not spending most of his time effectively. dedicating just one day out of the week to focus on cold time will ensure timely production and the ability to focus on quality work within a timely manner, without needing to work on the previous week's production. This next set of questions are related to the production and pricing of Giberson's items. A question on production would be if Giberson can consider using dirty scraps to create his products. Right now, there's public concerns over the community landfill, and other environmental issues are expected to make glass disposal more difficult and more expensive. Even though dumping dirty scraps is not expensive right now, Giberson should consider utilizing those 50 pounds of unused dirty scraps to produce environmentally friendly items instead. Using very low-end quality glass can actually be advertised as 100% recyclable glass items. The business could gain a new market of potential buyers that appreciate recycled products, and even those who are concerned about protecting the environment. The next question will ask Giberson if all clean scrap can form into usable cullet. Giberson mentions that only some clean scrap becomes part of the 20% cullet used in his weekly batch, and that means that the rest is thrown away. Saving all clean scrap will eliminate any disposing of cullet or clean scrap, and new products may even be created to save on costs. For example, using clean scrap with dirty scrap could produce items that are inexpensive while attracting a new market of customers, potentially art students and the younger generation. And then we will ask Giberson's thoughts on pricing items according to the quality. Right now, Giberson is dividing his items by quality, but he is not pricing them according to that principle. For example, he explains that the first items are the highest quality, while seconds are lower quality, and both are sold at the same price. Customers should decide which quality level they would prefer buying and be charged according to the item's value. Increasing the price on higher quality glass can even attract buyers who are interested in high standard work, and at the same time, the studio will still have items that are in lower value for a lower price. This table shown is describing the pounds of material Giberson uses to create his weekly production and the pounds of waste thrown away each week. The question to ask him is if he will consider increasing his weekly production. Giberson's actual weekly usage is 40 pounds of material, which means that after keeping 20% of cullet for the next week's batch, he is throwing away 120 pounds of dirty and clean scraps every week. If he can actually utilize more of his material that he has in hand, then he will be able to increase his weekly production and be able to catch up on back orders. To continue keeping costs at a low, another question would ask Giberson if he must have the furnace, glory hole, and ovens be running continuously throughout the week. Part of Giberson's problem of not being a profitable business is partly due to high expenses. Currently, he powers on all equipment continuously throughout the week, even when the largest expense is known to be the cost of gas. If Giberson can create an organized schedule to allow an efficient reduction in total gas usage, he will be able to minimize his highest cost. For example, the overall production process requires the furnace to be used for a total of 2 days. The first day of furnace usage is to melt glass, and the next day is to complete the fining process. But Giberson powers the furnace throughout the week when not in use. Additionally, the glory hole and ovens are 2 types of equipment that must be used simultaneously, which can be organized by scheduling their use after the furnace usage. This weekly schedule as shown is an example of an efficient routine that would only allow the furnace to be powered on for 2 consecutive days each week, while the glory hole and ovens are used afterwards for 3 consecutive days. Mr. Giberson will find the studio's overall gas usage to be significantly reduced, and he will find the studio to be more profitable. The next question asks if Giberson is willing to trust and properly train his part-time employee to complete general tasks. The glass studio needs some organization, and Giberson should utilize the part-time employee to complete miscellaneous chores, general maintenance, and ship packages. Giberson is currently doing most of the low-level skilled work that could easily be transferred over to his part-time employee with a little training. Reducing the amount of low-level work done by Giberson can increase his focus towards the tasks that require specialized skills like the actual production of blowing glass and ensuring quality for cold-time tasks. Next question asks if Giberson can consider shipping all packages only once a week. Currently, Giberson is utilizing his employee to pack and ship packages once a customer order has been made. An efficient form to conduct the task is to save one day out of the week to pack and ship all orders from the entire week. Organizing the labor's tasks can help Giberson provide more tasks to the employee without the need to hire an additional employee, which saves him on labor cost. The next question asks if Giberson is willing to consider using QuickBooks. The reason why this is an important question to ask is because Mr. Giberson doesn't have much office work organized. He has no record of his production or data on product costs, but he only has a checkbook, unreconciled bank statements, and several tax returns that are used as his financial records. Before he moved to this new location, he was using his ex-wife to take care of his financial records, so right now his financial department has pretty much been neglected. Even if he outsources to an actual expert in the field, his indirect costs will quickly increase. So Giberson should consider a cost-efficient method to keep his finances in order by purchasing QuickBooks. The benefit of using the program is allowing people with low skill and knowledge to submit and organize their information and basically avoid future problems or discrepancies. Another question to ask Giberson is if he is willing to submit his artistic pieces to the McGuffey Art Center. The studio is located behind the McGuffey Art Center in the historic downtown of Charlottesville, where his rent is at a low $175 a month. Giberson should contact the Art Center to see if he can sell his glass products there to help increase his profits. Taking advantage of the art center that is located in front of the studio is also an opportunity to attract potential customers to come visit his glass studio. The next question to ask is if Giberson is willing to consider setting a specific weekly schedule when he's working on glass blowing production. Visitors and friends are regularly visiting the glass studio to watch Giberson work on glassmaking, so setting up a weekly schedule will all help increase studio walk-ins. Gathering potential customers to watch Giberson can actually form into social events and can increase in popularity from just word-of-mouth advertising. Interested buyers can also come from the connections made at the Art Center and will likely increase in-store purchases. Eric will now share the recommendations made for the business.
Giberson's glass could benefit from several recommendations. First recommendation I would make for the business is to improve their organization. Currently, the business is disorganized. QuickBooks should be implemented to help with the business. The price for the program would only be $299 and $799 per month for the self-employed version. This would create a profit and loss statement for the business to determine a profitable plan moving forward. The business needs to keep track of their profits and losses and what products they're making money on in order to have a successful end result. Companies should also try to save on materials. Currently, lots of scrap metal is being wasted by the shop. Smaller batches of glass are needed to utilize all the scrap wasted. The money saved by the shop by not wasting materials will be significant, and the company will stand to do better. Another problem with the business is its current production and price structure. Prices are now not in line with the demand for the products. One of the company's most successful products, the warp tumblers, have the highest demand but are currently selling for the lowest price at the store of any item. Vases are the most profitable item, sold at $25. So a couple of recommendations would be to move prices up across the board, since there is support at the $25 level for the vases, and also to increase production of the warp tumblers and also increase their price significantly in order to boost profits for the business overall. Finally, another key component to turning this business around is the time aspect. Time is currently being wasted by the owner. On Sunday and Monday, the owner helps with the store's day-to-day business and upkeep, and also helps customers. No glass is being blown during that time, and the ovens are not being operated. This is costing the business quite a bit of money. Instead of fraternizing with customers, the owner should be working with the glass oven and producing more product. A new schedule should be implemented in order to correct this problem.
This completes our presentation. Thank you for watching.